At the wake, my cousin walked up to me and whispered, "Grandma said I could have her wedding ring. Don't make this a thing." I smiled. She gave it to me while she was still breathing. And she made me promise you'd never touch it. Later that night, I posted a photo of the ring with her handwritten note, "For the one who stayed." The comments spoke for me. My cousin still has me blocked. I guess I should explain how we got here. Grandma Ruth didn't have much. No big house, no money tucked away in some secret account. But what she did have was loyalty and memory. She never forgot who showed up and who didn't. When my mom left, I was 9. She packed a suitcase, said she was going to see a friend, and didn't come back. My dad was already a mess, half a man with a drinking problem and a temper. After 2 nights of eating dry cereal and listening to him scream at the TV, Grandma Ruth showed up and took me out of that house. No questions. No judgment. Just a coat, a warm car, and the words, "You'll stay with me now." She raised me like I was her second chance. Not a burden. Not a duty. She made space for me in her tiny 2-bedroom house on the edge of town, even though she was already pushing 70. She gave me her bedroom and took the smaller one for herself. Said she slept better near the window anyway. I believed her. I think that was the first lie she told to protect me. Meanwhile, Melanie lived the sweet life. Private school. Summer camps. Family trips to Florida every year. She'd show up at Christmas and brag about her horse riding lessons. Grandma would listen politely, then hand her the same $20 bill she gave me. No favorites, she used to say. But she never looked at Melanie the way she looked at me. When Grandma got sick, I was 19. College wasn't in the cards, not with her health getting worse and no one else stepping up. Aunt Denise offered to help with decisions from a distance, which meant she'd occasionally call to ask if we needed anything and then ignore whatever I said. It was me who took her to doctor appointments. Me who learned to handle her pills and change her sheets. Me who held the bucket when she got sick after chemo. Melanie? She posted a photo of Grandma on her Instagram once, with the caption, "Miss this sweet angel," like Grandma had already died. She got 137 likes. When Grandma started losing her memory, she stopped calling Melanie by name. Just that one. But she never forgot mine. Not once. She kept the ring in the nightstand, always in the same spot, wrapped in tissue. She'd check on it every so often. Once, when her hands were shaking too much to open the drawer, she asked me to do it. She held the ring in her hand for a long time. Then she looked at me, serious, eyes sharp like the old days. "Don't let them have it. They don't remember me. You do." I nodded. Said I understood. But it didn't feel like enough. That's when she wrote the note. She used the notepad she kept for grocery lists and the pen that barely worked. Her hands trembled, but her handwriting was still clear. She folded it twice and sealed it with a little gold wax stamp from her sewing box. Then she handed it to me. "For when I can't speak anymore," she said. She passed away in March. The house smelled like lavender and Vicks. I was with her. She didn't say much that day. But just before her last breath, she reached out and squeezed my hand. Then she looked at the drawer. I got the ring. I got the note. The wake was held at the old church on Main Street. Nothing fancy. Just plain wooden pews and the smell of stale flowers. People came in, hugged me, told me how strong I was. I nodded, thanked them, and kept looking at her face in the casket. Still, pale, but calm. Melanie showed up an hour late, wearing a dress that didn't fit the mood and heels too high for the muddy parking lot. She acted like she was sad, but I didn't see a single tear. Just fake smiles, head tilts, and a lot of whispering with her mom. She waited until no one else was around. Walked up to me like we were friends. Leaned in close and said, "Grandma said I could have her wedding ring. Don't make this a thing." Just like that. Entitled. Cold. I didn't flinch. I just smiled. Real quiet. "She gave it to me while she was still breathing," I said. And she made me promise you'd never touch it. Melanie pulled back like I slapped her. Her mouth tightened. Her eyes narrowed. She didn't say anything else. Just turned and walked off, heels clicking against the church floor like gunshots. Later, I heard her telling her mom, "She's lying. Grandma promised me that ring when I was a kid. She's just bitter." I didn't argue. I didn't need to. That night, when the house was quiet and I was alone in Grandma's room, I pulled out the ring and the note. Took a photo. My hand in hers, the ring on my finger, the note beside us. I posted it on Facebook with the caption, "For the one who stayed." No tags. No names. Just the truth. People started commenting within minutes. "She always knew who cared. Beautiful. I'm so glad she had you. Some people only show up when it's convenient. You were always there." I never replied. I didn't need to. By morning, Melanie had blocked me. I thought that was it. I thought posting the photo would end it. Let it speak for itself. I wasn't trying to stir anything. I just wanted the truth out there. But Melanie wasn't done. She never is. A week after the funeral, I got a letter in the mail. Certified. Had to sign for it. It was from a lawyer. At first, I thought it was about Grandma's house or maybe her tiny savings account. But when I opened it, I saw what this really was: a warning. Melanie had hired an attorney. Or more likely, her mom had. The letter said I was in possession of family property that was promised to another relative. That I needed to return the item in question, or they'd consider further legal options. I stared at the letter for a long time. I didn't cry. I didn't get mad. I just felt something inside me go cold. This wasn't about the ring. Not really. This was about pride. Melanie couldn't stand the fact that Grandma had chosen me. That in the end, after all the years of being distant, showing up only for holidays, she didn't get the one thing she thought she deserved. I took a photo of the letter, then slid it into a drawer. Then I called the lawyer listed at the bottom. Told him straight up, that ring was given to me by my grandmother, in person, before she passed. I have a note in her handwriting to prove it. If you want to waste time and money chasing it, go ahead. But I won't be bullied. The guy didn't say much. Just, "We'll be in touch." A few days later, Aunt Denise called me. First time in years. "This doesn't have to get ugly," she said. "It already is," I replied. She tried the guilt angle. Said Melanie was hurting, that she felt left out, that Grandma had always promised her that ring. I told her what I'd told the lawyer. That Grandma gave it to me while she was alive. That she wrote a note. That I'd been there through it all and Melanie had been nowhere. Then Aunt Denise said something that made my jaw clench. "You always did play the victim." I hung up. Next thing I knew, Melanie started posting passive-aggressive crap online. Quotes about greedy people and family betraying you when money's involved. She even made a post with an old photo of her and Grandma with the caption, "Some people forget promises made in better days." The comments were filled with her friends backing her up. Some even messaged me directly. "Why would you keep something you know wasn't meant for you? You're seriously out here bragging about stealing from your own cousin? This isn't what Grandma would have wanted." I didn't respond to any of them, but I kept all the messages, screenshotted everything, and I started putting things together, quietly. Melanie had messed with the wrong person. She thought she was fighting for a ring. I was fighting for Grandma's name, her memory. So I went digging, found old photos. Texts Grandma had sent me, voicemails she'd left, even with her shaky voice near the end. I even found an old recording from a few months before she passed, me reading to her, her stopping me to say, "I'm so lucky you stayed. You're the only one who really sees me." I uploaded that clip to a private YouTube link. I was building something. Not for revenge. Not yet. But if they wanted to play dirty, I was going to show them what truth looked like. About 3 weeks after the funeral, I got a knock at my door. It was the local deputy, someone I went to high school with, Dave Peterson. He looked uncomfortable, standing there in his uniform like he didn't want to be doing this. "Got a report I need to follow up on," he said, not meeting my eyes. "What kind of report?" "Family dispute," he said, scratching his neck. "Just need to ask you a couple questions." Turns out, Melanie had taken things up a notch. She filed a claim that I had stolen the ring after Grandma's death. Said I entered the home without permission and removed items not left to me in the will. She even told the police she believed I forged the note. Dave looked at me and said, "This is all probably nonsense, but since it's on record, I gotta write it up. Just tell me what you got." So I did. I showed him the note. I showed him the video clip, the texts. I even showed him a picture I'd taken of Grandma holding the ring just 2 days before she died, her fingers fragile and thin, but the smile on her face was unmistakable. Dave didn't say much, just nodded and said, "I'll make a note of it. Don't think you'll hear more from us." But I wasn't so sure, because Melanie wasn't backing down. And something told me this wasn't just her. This had Aunt Denise's fingerprints all over it. Later that night, I got a message from one of Melanie's old high school friends. We weren't close, but she had always been friendly. Her name was Brianna. "Hey, just wanted to say I'm sorry about everything. I know what they're doing isn't fair. I thought you should see this." Attached was a screenshot. A group chat. Melanie had been in there trashing me for weeks, calling me a thief, a liar, saying she was going to make sure I regret ever posting that picture. But that wasn't the part that shook me. There was another message, Melanie, saying, "She's dumb. She doesn't even know I already took the insurance policy." I stared at that for a long time. What insurance policy? Grandma never talked about anything like that. She barely had savings. Everything went into the house and her care. I never saw any papers. No life insurance. Nothing. So I started digging. I called the lawyer who handled Grandma's small estate. An old guy named Harold Barnes, practically half asleep on the phone. "There's no real estate to speak of," he told me. "Just the house, which you're the beneficiary of. And a small checking account. No life insurance." "You sure?" "Positive." But something didn't sit right. I called the bank, explained the situation. Asked them if there had been any insurance payouts connected to Grandma's account. They wouldn't tell me much over the phone, but they said there had been a flagged transaction. A large deposit withdrawn the same day Grandma passed. It was $15,000. Gone. I knew Grandma wouldn't have had that kind of money just sitting around. But I also knew she'd had a joint account for emergencies, one she opened years ago before things got bad. One with Aunt Denise. I remembered seeing the statement once. Grandma was mad because Denise had used it to pay for a rental car and didn't ask first. I called the bank again. Asked if the withdrawal had come from that joint account. It had. Aunt Denise had pulled the money right after Grandma died. Not even 24 hours later. I felt sick. I sat in the kitchen, staring at the ring on my hand, wondering how many layers of betrayal I hadn't even uncovered yet. This wasn't just about Melanie wanting the ring. They were trying to erase me completely from the money, from the legacy, from the truth. And I wasn't going to let that happen. I didn't sleep much that night. I sat in Grandma's old chair, the one by the window. I stared at her note, the ring on my finger, the letter from the lawyer, and that group chat screenshot from Brianna. My hand shook, but not from fear. From rage. They took $15,000. Not just took it, stole it. While Grandma's body was still warm. Aunt Denise had access, yes. But that account was meant for Grandma's care. Not Melanie's new purse. Not a lawyer to bully me. Not hush money. I pulled every document I had and made copies. I drove to the sheriff's office with it all. The texts, the group chat, the photo of the ring, the bank statements, the note, the voice recordings. The woman at the front desk looked surprised when I said, "I'm here to file a fraud report against my aunt and cousin." It took a few weeks, but the investigation started. Quietly at first. I guess people didn't expect someone like me to fight back. They thought I'd roll over. Thought I'd back off once lawyers got involved. But they didn't know what Grandma had built in me. They didn't know I had nothing left to lose. Word spread fast once the local paper caught wind. A short article, but enough to light a fire. $15,000 withdrawn after death raises questions in local family dispute. Melanie deactivated her Facebook the same day. Denise tried to claim it was a misunderstanding, that she thought she had permission to move the money for funeral expenses. But I'd already paid for the funeral out of pocket and I had receipts. The sheriff's department froze the account. The DA got involved. There was talk of elder financial abuse. Charges were discussed. Papers were served. Then the kicker, someone at the bank admitted under pressure that the withdrawal had been done in person. And the person who showed up to take it? Melanie. She'd forged a signature. Used her mom's ID. Fraud. Plain and simple. A month later, I sat across from both of them in a mediation room. I hadn't seen either of them since the wake. They looked different now. No high heels. No fake tears. Just tired. Nervous. Their lawyer asked for a quiet resolution. Offered me the money back. I leaned forward and said, I don't want just the money. I want every single person you lied to, every friend you misled, to know what you did. I pulled out the audio clip of Grandma's voice. I'm so lucky you stayed. You're the only one who really sees me. I played it once. The room was silent. Then I pulled out Grandma's handwritten note. Put it in front of the mediator. She gave me that ring before she died. In front of God. In front of time. And in front of every memory we shared. I'm not giving it up. You want to drag this into court, fine. But I'll do it with her voice in my pocket and her words in my hand. They folded. Quick. Returned the $15,000. Dropped any claim to the ring. Signed a statement saying they wouldn't contact me again. But that wasn't enough. I took copies of the group chat. I posted them. Public. No names blocked out. Just the raw truth. No commentary. No explanations. Just let the facts speak. The comments poured in. Disgusting. Can't believe I used to defend her. I knew something felt off at the funeral. Melanie lost friends. Aunt Denise lost her place at the church charity board. They moved 3 months later. Albany rumors followed. And me? I kept the ring. Still wear it on a chain sometimes. Not for show. For memory. For Ruth. But here's the part one never tell people. Something I regret. I let that fight turn me bitter. I lost sleep. Snapped at people who didn't deserve it. For a while, I stopped trusting anyone. That was my mistake. Grandma wouldn't have wanted revenge. She wanted peace. But sometimes, peace doesn't come until the liars are dragged into the light. So no, I'm not proud of how far I went. But I'm proud I never let them win. And I still hear her voice sometimes, especially when I'm doubting myself. You're the one who stayed.